Picture this: a single flickering candle on the coffee table, casting jittery shadows across the walls of our little living room, as if the light itself is nervous about what's coming. I'm Clara, 32 years old, curled up on the couch with a worn-out novel in my lap, the kind of book I've read 100 times because it's safe, predictable. My world is small, deliberate, every day stitched together with the same careful threads. But then there's Logan, my husband of 5 years, who storms into every moment like a hurricane I can't outrun. He's the kind of man who doesn't just live life. He wrestles it into submission, always chasing the next rush, the next edge to teeter on. I can still see him clear as day, bursting through the front door after a skydiving trip last summer, his dark hair plastered with sweat against his forehead, his eyes blazing with a kind of feral joy that made my breath catch. He'd thrown his gear bag down right there on the floor, grinning at me with that reckless, lopsided smile, and said, "Clara, you should have seen it. Free-falling feels like you're cheating death itself." I remember laughing, but it was a nervous sound, because part of me wondered if one day death might catch up to him. I admired that fire in him, but God, it scared me too. I'm not like that, never have been. I'm the one who double-checks the locks at night, who plans grocery lists a week in advance, who finds comfort in the hum of routine. Where Logan craves chaos, I cling to order. We're opposites in every way, and somehow, that's what's held us together for half a decade. He pulls me out of my shell, and I keep him grounded, or at least I try to. But there's a quiet friction between us, a tension I can't always name. Sometimes I catch myself wondering if he resents my caution, if he wishes I could match his wildness. And sometimes I wonder if I'm holding him back. It's a Thursday evening now, the kind of night where the world outside our window feels hushed, like it's holding its breath. The living room smells faintly of the lavender candle I lit earlier, and the old couch creaks under me as I shift, waiting for Logan to get home. I hear his key in the lock, that familiar jingle, and then he's there, filling the room with his energy before he even speaks. He's got something in his hand, a sleek black envelope, glossy and sharp-edged, like it's been cut from the night itself. He tosses his jacket over the armchair and strides over to me, his boots still muddy from whatever adventure he's been on today. "Got something for us?" he says, his voice low and teasing, the kind of tone that always makes my stomach flip in a way I can't decide is excitement or dread. He hands me the envelope, and I feel the weight of it in my hands, heavier than I expected, like it's carrying a secret I'm not sure I want to know. But Logan's watching me with that spark in his eyes, the one that always drags me into his world, whether I'm ready or not. So here I am now, days later, standing in front of the fear room, the mysterious place that black envelope led me to. I'm alone, just like Logan insisted. He said I had to experience this on my own, that it's part of the thrill, though he dropped a cryptic hint that he'd be somewhere inside, waiting. I can still hear his voice in my head, playful but firm, saying, "Trust me, Clara. You'll thank me later." I'm not so sure about that as I stare at this building. It's in the industrial part of town, far from the cozy glow of streetlights or the hum of familiar neighborhoods. The structure looms in front of me, a cold slab of gray concrete that looks more like a forgotten warehouse than any kind of attraction. There's no signage, no neon "welcome" to ease my nerves, just a single black door, stark against the dull facade, with a small scanner mounted beside it. I fumble in my pocket for the ticket, that same glossy black card from the envelope, and hold it up to the scanner with a trembling hand. A faint beep cuts through the silence, and the door clicks open with a heavy, mechanical groan. The air out here is damp, clinging to my skin, and as I step closer, I feel a low hum vibrating through the ground, like machinery buried deep beneath my feet. It's unsettling, like the building itself is alive, breathing in some strange industrial rhythm. I push the door open wider and step inside, and the darkness swallows me whole. It's pitch black, so thick I can't even see my own hands in front of me. My heart's already pounding, a frantic drumbeat in my chest, and I'm about to turn back when something brushes against my arm. I flinch, a gasp catching in my throat, but then I feel the cool metal of a flashlight being pressed into my palm. A figure stands there, or at least, I think it does, cloaked in shadow, wearing a hood that hides any trace of a face. "Use this," a voice rasps, low and gravelly, before the figure melts back into the darkness. I call out, "Wait, what is this place?" But there's no answer, just the echo of my own voice bouncing back at me. I'm alone again, or at least I hope I am. I flick on the flashlight, and a weak, flickering beam cuts through the void, barely illuminating a few feet ahead. The air inside is icy, biting at my exposed skin, sending shivers racing down my spine. I pull my jacket tighter around me, but it doesn't help. Every breath I take feels sharp, like I'm inhaling frost, and I can see little puffs of my breath clouding in the dim light. I'm deeper in the fear room now, the walls closing in as I navigate a labyrinth of narrow, twisting hallways that seem to shift and bend with every step. My flashlight flickers erratically, the beam stuttering like a dying heartbeat, casting jagged shadows that twist into monstrous shapes on the damp, peeling walls. The air is suffocating, thick with a musty, metallic tang that clings to the back of my throat. Cold drafts slither across my neck, brushing against my skin like ghostly fingers, and I can't shake the feeling that I'm being watched, that something, or someone, is just out of sight, lurking in the void beyond the light. The distant screams I heard earlier are louder now, more desperate, echoing through the maze in sharp, piercing waves that make my chest tighten. They don't sound staged anymore. They feel raw, real, like someone is genuinely suffering just beyond the next turn. My heart is a wild thing, slamming against my ribs, and I'm gripping the flashlight so hard my knuckles ache. I want to call out for Logan, to hear his voice cut through this nightmare. But I remember his words, "Experience this on my own," so I press forward, my boots scuffing against the uneven floor, each step heavier than the last. Then, out of nowhere, figures appear. Masked, grotesque faces looming in the flickering light. Their masks are horrifying, warped and exaggerated, with hollow eyes and twisted grins that seem to leer at me. They materialize in bursts of strobe light that flash unpredictably, illuminating their forms for just a split second before they vanish back into the darkness. 1 second, I see a figure with a cracked porcelain mask, blood-like streaks dripping from its eyes. The next, it's gone, and I'm spinning around, shining my light into empty corners, my breath hitching in panic. Another appears to my left, its mask a grotesque clown face, the painted smile stretching too wide, and I stumble backward, nearly dropping the flashlight. They don't speak, don't move toward me, but their sudden appearances are enough to unravel me. I'm on the verge of tears, my vision blurring as the weight of this place presses down on me, suffocating any sense of control I thought I had. I'm trembling, my legs barely holding me up, when suddenly a hand grabs me from behind. My scream catches in my throat, stifled by sheer terror as the grip tightens on my arm, not violent but firm, unyielding. I try to jerk away, but before I can make a sound, a low, raspy whisper cuts through the chaos, right against my ear. It's not fear. It's me. The voice sends a jolt through me, freezing me in place. My mind races, scrambling to place it, to match it to someone, anyone. But it's distorted, unfamiliar yet hauntingly close. I can't turn, can't see who it is, but I feel their presence, heavy and undeniable, pressing against me in the dark. Their hands slide from my arm to my waist, pulling me closer, and I'm paralyzed, not just by fear, but by something else, something electric and unnerving. Their touch is deliberate, fingers tracing along my sides with a precision that feels too knowing, too intimate. My breath comes in shallow gasps, my body caught in a storm of conflicting emotions. Panic surges through me, screaming at me to run, to fight, but there's also this inexplicable pull, a current of familiarity in the way they hold me, as if they've done this before, as if they know exactly how to unravel me. I should push them away, should scream for help, but I don't. I can't. In the chaos of the strobe lights flashing erratically, the fabricated terror of the fear room blurring with something far more real, I surrender to it. I let their hands roam, let the heat of their breath against my neck drown out the distant screams. It's raw, forbidden, a moment of weakness I never thought I was capable of. I'm betraying Logan, right here in this hellish maze, with a stranger whose face I can't even see, and the worst part is, I don't even know if I regret it yet. I'm still here, in the suffocating darkness of the fear room, my mind a tangled mess of guilt and confusion. My hair is a wild, sweaty mess, strands sticking to my neck and forehead as I try to pull myself together. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely adjust my jacket, fumbling with the zipper like it's some impossible puzzle. My breathing is ragged, each inhale sharp and uneven, like I've run a marathon through this nightmare. I can still feel the ghost of that stranger's touch on my skin, the heat of their breath lingering like a brand, and it makes my stomach churn with a sick mix of shame and something I can't name, something I don't want to name. I'm alone again now. Or at least I think I am. The strobe lights have stopped, leaving me in a dim, flickering haze from the weak beam of my flashlight. The weight of what just happened sits heavy in my chest, a stone I can't dislodge no matter how hard I try to push it down. I keep replaying that moment over and over in my head, dissecting every second like it's a crime scene I'm desperate to understand. Why didn't I pull away? Why didn't I scream or fight? And worse, why did I feel that pull, that undeniable connection, as if some part of me knew them, wanted them, even in the middle of all this chaos? I've never been that person. I'm Clara, the one who plans, who controls, who stays safe. But here, in this twisted maze, I've become someone else, someone I don't recognize, someone I'm afraid to look at too closely. Logan's face flashes in my mind, unbidden, and the guilt sharpens into a blade. I can almost see his dark eyes narrowing, that reckless smile of his twisting into something cold, something wounded. What would he say if he knew? Would he yell, his voice booming like it does when he's frustrated? Or would he just look at me with that quiet disappointment that cuts deeper than any words? I can't bear the thought of it. I need to get out of here, to escape this place before it swallows me whole, before I have to face whatever's waiting on the other side of that exit door. I need to see Logan, to know he's okay, to pretend this never happened, even if I know I can't outrun the truth forever. I stumble forward, my boots scraping against the rough floor, my flashlight trembling in my grip. The masked figures are still out there, I know they are. I catch glimpses of them in the corners of my vision, their grotesque faces flickering in and out of the shadows like cruel phantoms. But now, their presence doesn't feel as terrifying as it did before. Instead, it's like they're mocking me, their twisted grins a silent accusation, as if they saw everything, as if they know what I've done. I try to ignore them, to focus on finding my way through this labyrinth, but every time I turn a corner, I half expect to see one of them standing there, pointing at me, laughing at my betrayal. The flashlight flickers again, weaker now, the beam barely cutting through the oppressive darkness. I shake it, desperation clawing at me, but it's no use. With a final pathetic sputter, the light dies completely, plunging me into a void so thick it feels like it's pressing against my skin. My breath hitches, panic surging back to the surface, raw and unrelenting. I can't see anything, not even my own hands as I reach out, groping for the wall. My fingers brush against the damp, cold surface, the texture rough and slimy under my touch, and I recoil for a moment before forcing myself to keep going. I have no choice. I have to feel my way forward, one shaky step at a time, the darkness wrapping around me like a suffocating blanket. My heart is pounding so hard I can hear it, a frantic rhythm that drowns out the distant echoes of screams. Every sound feels amplified now, the drip of water somewhere in the distance, the faint SCC. I'm still fumbling through the suffocating darkness, my hand scraping along the slimy walls, when I finally see it, a sliver of harsh, fluorescent light slicing through the black ahead. It's faint at first, just a cruel tease, but as I shuffle closer, it grows brighter, sharper, until it's almost blinding after so long in the void. My chest tightens with a desperate kind of hope, and I quicken my pace, nearly tripping over my own feet in my rush to escape this nightmare. The air feels thinner now, less oppressive, and I can hear a faint hum of something mechanical beyond the light, like the world is coming back to life. I push forward, one hand still pressed against the wall for balance, until I stumble through a narrow doorway and out into the exit area. The sudden brightness stabs at my eyes, and I squint, raising a trembling hand to shield my face. The fluorescent lights overhead buzz loudly, casting a sterile, unforgiving glow over everything. I'm a mess. Sweat soaks through my shirt, plastering it to my skin, and my hair is a tangled, damp disaster, clinging to my neck and cheeks like I've been caught in a storm. My hands won't stop shaking, jittery little tremors that make my fingers feel useless as I try to swipe the hair out of my eyes. I take a ragged breath, then another, trying to steady myself, but my heart is still hammering, a wild beast caged in my ribs. I feel raw, exposed, like every nerve in my body has been scraped bare by what I've just been through. And then I see him. Logan. He's there, leaning casually against the wall just a few feet away, one shoulder propped against the concrete, like he's been waiting for me all along. His dark hair is slightly mussed, but otherwise, he looks untouched, unruffled, as if he hasn't just been through the same hell I have. A sly smile curves his lips, that familiar reckless tilt that always makes my stomach flip. But right now, it sends a chill down my spine. I freeze, my breath catching in my throat, my mind racing with 1,000 horrible possibilities. Does he know? Can he see it on me? The guilt, the shame, the way I let myself unravel in there? I brace myself for anger, for betrayal to flash in those sharp, dark eyes of his, but instead, he pushes off the wall and steps closer, his movements slow, deliberate, like a predator sizing up its prey. My legs feel like they might give out, but I can't move, can't look away from him. He stops just inches from me, close enough that I can smell the faint trace of his cologne, a grounding scent that clashes with the chaos still swirling in my head. His voice comes low, almost a whisper, but it cuts through the buzz of the lights like a blade. The mask was new, but you weren't. I wanted to see how you act when you're scared. The words hit me like a physical blow, knocking the air from my lungs. My mind reels, scrambling to process what he's just said. The mask, the voice, the touch. It was him. Logan was the figure in the dark, the one who grabbed me, who whispered in my ear, who pulled me close and made me feel things I shouldn't have. Shock surges through me first, a cold wave that leaves me dizzy, my vision swimming for a moment as I stare at him, wide-eyed. Then comes relief, sharp and fleeting, because it wasn't a stranger, wasn't some betrayal I'd have to carry like a scar. But that relief is quickly swallowed by anger, hot and bitter, rising in my chest like bile. He did this to me. He orchestrated this whole twisted game, pushed me to the edge, made me question everything about myself, about us. And for what? To test me? To see how I'd break. I open my mouth to say something, anything, to lash out or demand answers, but nothing comes. I'm speechless, rooted to the spot, my hands still trembling at my sides. And beneath the anger, there's something else, something darker and more confusing, something I can't quite pin down as Logan and I climb into the car to head home. The silence between us is heavy, a thick fog that presses against the windows of his old pickup truck, the kind of quiet that feels like it could shatter with a single wrong word. I'm in the passenger seat, staring out at the blur of the city as it streaks past, the streetlights casting fleeting golden streaks across the dashboard. My hands are folded in my lap, still unsteady, my fingers twisting together as if they could wring out the mess of emotions still churning inside me. Logan drives with one hand on the wheel, the other resting on the gear shift, just inches from mine. I can see the faint scars on his knuckles, the roughness of his skin from years of pushing limits, and I'm hyper-aware of how close his hand is, how easy it would be to bridge that gap. But I don't. Not yet. There's a tension in the air, an unspoken current crackling between us, like the hum of a live wire waiting to spark. I keep replaying his words in my head, that low, deliberate confession outside the fear room. He wanted to see how I'd act when I was scared. It wasn't just a game to him. It was an experiment, a way to peel back the layers of who I am and expose something raw, something I didn't even know was there. I should be furious, and part of me is a simmering heat that flares every time I think about how he manipulated the situation, how he played with my fear like it was a toy. But there's another part of me, quieter but impossible to ignore, that keeps circling back to how it felt in that moment. The rush of adrenaline, the way my heart raced not just from terror, but from something else, something electric and dangerous. His touch in the dark, disguised and forbidden, woke something up inside me, a hunger I didn't know I had. And as much as I want to hate him for putting me through that, I can't deny the truth. I liked it. I liked the thrill. The edge of it all. The way it stripped away my carefully constructed control and left me trembling with something that wasn't just fear. I steal a glance at Logan, his profile sharp and unreadable in the dim light. His jaw is set, his eyes fixed on the road ahead, but I can sense the weight of his thoughts, the way he's probably wondering what I'm feeling right now. Does he know I'm not as angry as I should be? Can he tell that beneath the surface, there's a part of me that's curious, intrigued by the game he played? I shift in my seat, the leather creaking under me, and my gaze falls back to his hand on the gear shift. It's so close, a silent invitation, or maybe a challenge, daring me to cross a line I've never crossed before. My fingers twitch, itching to move, but I hold back, caught in the push and pull of what this means for us. Trust has always been the foundation of our relationship, shaky at times because of how different we are, but still there, holding us together. Now, though, that trust feels blurred, smudged by what happened in that maze. He crossed a boundary, orchestrated a moment that could have broken us, and yet, here I am, not running away, not shutting down. Instead, I'm wondering what else he's capable of, what other shadows he might pull me into. The city lights fade as we turn onto quieter streets, the hum of the engine, the only sound in the cab. My mind keeps spinning, unraveling the layers of what I felt in the fear room. I've always been the safe one, the planner, the person who avoids risks at all costs. But that moment, when I thought I was in the hands of a stranger, when I let myself surrender to the unknown, it changed something in me. It cracked open a door I didn't even know was there, revealing a side of myself that craves the rush, the danger, the forbidden. I don't regret it, even if I should. Even if it means I'm stepping into uncharted territory with Logan. Because sometimes the most unexpected paths lead to the most extraordinary destinations. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.